The alien flagship moved toward the Liberty with deadly grace. It was beautiful, even in its damaged state, with flowing lines and glowing energy conduits running along its hull. Sub-Commander Kexthar had chosen well. His ship was the largest and most powerful vessel left in the alien fleet. Captain Jake Morrison studied his opponent through the main screen. The alien ship was about half the size of the Liberty, but it was built for pure combat, while the Liberty was designed to carry fighters and support operations. "Captain, enemy vessel is charging its main weapons," Lisa Martinez reported from her tactical station. "Their plasma cannons are more powerful than anything we've faced so far." Jake nodded. "Chief Phillips, give me everything the reactors can handle." "Dr. Parker, any weaknesses you can find in that ship?" Dan worked at his engineering station, pushing the Liberty's power systems to their limits. "Reactors at 115%, Captain. Any higher and we risk a core breach." Dr. Helen studied the alien flagship with her sensors. "The ship is heavily armored, but I'm seeing the same structural weaknesses as the other vessels. If we can hit the curved sections near their main guns, we might be able to disable their weapons." "Amy, are you recording this battle?" Jake asked. Amy looked up from her communication station. "Yes, sir. Full tactical recording. The whole human fleet is watching." Jake took a deep breath. This wasn't just about the Liberty anymore. Every human ship in the area was watching to see if their species could stand up to alien technology in a fair fight. The alien flagship fired first. 3 massive plasma beams struck the Liberty's forward shields, causing the entire ship to shake. The bridge lights flickered, and several crew members had to grab onto their stations to keep from falling. "Forward shields down to 40%, Dan reported. "That ship packs more firepower than I expected." "Return fire," Jake ordered. "All forward batteries. Target their main guns." The Liberty's railguns fired in sequence, sending projectiles toward the alien ship at incredible speed. The enemy vessel's shields flared as they absorbed the impact, but they held. "Their shields are stronger than the other ships," Lisa said. "We're going to need multiple hits to break through." The 2 ships circled each other like ancient sailing vessels, trading fire with every pass. The alien flagship was faster and more maneuverable, but the Liberty had heavier armor and more weapons. Commander Kexthar appeared on the main screen. "Your ship fights well, Captain Morrison. I begin to understand why our fleet suffered." "Such losses. Your people are brave warriors," Jake replied. "But this doesn't have to end with one of us dead." "Yes, it does," the alien commander said sadly. "Too much blood has been spilled today. Only victory or death can wash away such losses." The alien ship fired again, this time targeting the Liberty's weapon systems. 2 of the Supercarrier's main guns were destroyed in the attack, reducing its firepower significantly. "We're losing weapons faster than we're damaging theirs," Lisa warned. "That ship is built specifically for ship-to-ship combat." Jake made a decision that surprised everyone, including himself. "Launch all remaining fighters." "Sir?" Amy asked. "I thought this was single combat." "The fighters are part of my ship," Jake explained. "Just like the aliens' weapons are part of his ship." 20 human fighters launched from the Liberty's flight decks. Major Ryan Cole led them toward the alien flagship, using their speed to avoid the larger ship's weapons. "Liberty Control, this is Eagle 1, Ryan reported. "Beginning attack run on enemy vessel." The fighters swarmed around the alien ship like angry insects. They were too small and fast for the flagship's main guns to target effectively, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the alien shields. Either Dr. Helen had an idea. "Captain, if the fighters hit the same spot on their shields repeatedly, they might be able to create a weak point." "Ryan, concentrate all fire on the aliens' shield generators," Jake ordered. The fighters changed their attack pattern, focusing all their weapons on a single point on the alien ship's hull. Slowly, the shields in that area began to weaken. "Shield breach detected," Lisa announced. "Small section near their main engine. All guns target that breach," Jake commanded. The Liberty's remaining weapons fired at the weak spot the fighters had created. Railgun rounds punched through the damaged shields and struck the alien ship's hull directly. Explosions erupted along. The flagship sighed, and it began to lose power. But the alien ship wasn't finished yet. Sub-Commander Kexthar made a desperate decision. "If we cannot win with weapons, we will win with courage," he announced. The alien flagship turned directly toward the Liberty and began accelerating. The damaged ship was attempting to ram the human supercarrier. "Collision course," Lisa warned. "Impact in 30 seconds." Jake had to think fast. The Liberty was too large to dodge the ramming attack, and the alien ship was too close to stop with weapons fire. But he had one last option. "All fighters, attack their bridge," Jake ordered. "Take out their command center." The human fighters dove toward the alien flagship's command section. Their small weapons concentrated fire on the ship's bridge area, trying to break through the armor protecting the alien crew. 20 seconds to impact, Lisa counted down. The fighters kept firing, their weapons creating bright flashes against the alien ship's hull. Just when it looked like the ramming attack would succeed, the alien vessel suddenly changed course. "What happened?" Jake asked. "Their bridge took damage," Dr. Helen reported. "They've lost helm control." The alien flagship flew past the Liberty, missing by less than 100 meters. Its engines were still running, but the ship was no longer under control. Sub-Commander Kexthar appeared on the main screen one last time. His bridge was filled with smoke, and sparks flew from damaged equipment. "It seems your fighters are more effective than we calculated," he said weakly. "Commander, order your remaining ships to withdraw," Jake said. "This battle is over." The alien leader nodded slowly. "You have won with honor, Captain Morrison. We will return to our empire and report what we have learned here today." "What will you tell them?" Jake asked. "That humans are not the primitive species we believed," Kexthar replied. "Your tactics are different from ours, but they are not inferior. Your ships look crude, but they are effective. Your people fight with creativity that we did not expect." The alien flagship limped away from the Liberty, followed by the surviving ships of their fleet. Jake watched them go, feeling relief mixed with sadness. The battle was won, but the cost had been high for both sides. "Captain, we're receiving communication from Earth Command," Amy reported. "Admiral Clark wants a full report." Jake nodded. Admiral Susan Clark commanded the entire human fleet, and she would want to know everything about humanity's first major battle with aliens. "Tell the Admiral we'll have a complete report ready within the hour," Jake said. "And Amy, make sure she knows that this was just the beginning. The aliens will be back, and next time they'll be ready for our tactics." Dr. Helen looked up from her science station. "Captain, I've been analyzing the alien technology we captured. We can learn a lot from their ships." "Good," Jake replied. "We'll need every advantage we can get." "Chief Phillips, how long until we can get the Liberty back to full combat status?" 2 weeks in a proper shipyard," Dan answered. "But we can make temporary repairs here if needed." Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They were tired, some were wounded, but they were all proud of what they had accomplished. The Liberty had faced impossible odds and won through superior tactics and human determination. "All hands, this is the captain," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. "Today we proved that humanity belongs among the stars. We showed an alien empire that Earth's children are not weak or primitive. But this victory comes with a price. Now they know we're a threat. The next battle will be harder, but we'll be ready for it. He walked to the main window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was an alien empire with hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships. They would come back with better tactics and more firepower. But Jake wasn't worried. The USS Liberty had shown what one human ship could do against overwhelming odds. Soon there would be more ships like her, crewed by people who understood that sometimes the best defense was a good offense. The alien commander had been right about one thing. Humans were different from other species. They built ugly ships. That worked instead of beautiful ships that looked good. They used flexible tactics instead of rigid formations. They took risks that more cautious species would never consider. And those differences, Jake realized, were exactly what would keep humanity free among the stars. The Liberty turned toward home, carrying news of humanity's first victory in what everyone knew would be a long war. But for today, that victory was enough. The remaining alien ships formed into a tight formation and began their final attack run toward the Liberty. Captain Jake Morrison counted 43 enemy vessels, still outnumbering his supercarrier, but now desperate and angry instead of confident. "All hands, brace for impact," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. "This is going to get rough." War Commander Thexfall's face appeared on the main screen one last time. His elegant uniform was torn, and his large black eyes showed pure hatred. "If we cannot defeat you with honor, then we will destroy you with our lives." "Commander Martinez, status report," Jake called out. Lisa looked up from her tactical station, her face grim but determined. 43 enemy ships incoming. They're ignoring our fighters and heading straight for us. Time to impact, 3 minutes. Jake nodded. The aliens had decided that destroying the Liberty was worth losing their entire fleet. It was a desperate move, but it could work if they got close enough. "Chief Phillips, how are our main weapons?" Jake asked. Dan wiped sweat from his forehead. "Railguns are at full power, Captain. But I'm reading stress fractures in the main reactor housing. We've been running too hot for too long." Jake made a quick decision. "Dr. Parker, do we have any weapons that can stop multiple ships at once?" Helen looked up from her science station, her eyes bright with an idea. "Captain, we have one prototype antimatter torpedo in storage. It's never been tested in combat, but the computer models say it could destroy several ships if they're close together." "What's the risk?" Jake asked. "If we fire it too close to the Liberty, the explosion could damage us too," Helen admitted. "And if the torpedo malfunctions, it could explode in our launch tube." Jake looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were getting closer, and conventional weapons weren't going to stop them all in time. Sometimes a captain had to take risks. "Load the antimatter torpedo," he ordered. "Target the center of their formation." Amy Brooks looked worried. "Captain, are you sure about this?" "No," Jake replied honestly, "but I'm sure about what happens if those ships reach us." The Liberty shuddered as alien plasma weapons struck its hull. The enemy ships were now close enough to hit the supercarrier with their long-range guns, and they were pouring fire into the human vessel. "Shields down to 60%, Dan reported. "Hull breaches on decks 12 and 15. "Damage control teams to all affected areas," Jake ordered. Then he turned to Lisa. "How long until the torpedo is ready?" 30 seconds, Captain," Lisa replied. "But the aliens will be in ramming range in 45 seconds. Jake felt the pressure of command weighing on him. 5,000 lives depended on his decision. If the torpedo failed, the Liberty would be destroyed. If he didn't fire it, the Liberty would still be destroyed. "All fighters, clear the target area," Jake announced. "Emergency withdrawal now." Major Ryan Cole's voice came through the communication system. "Liberty Control, we're pulling back." "Good luck, sir." The human fighters scattered away from the alien formation just as the antimatter torpedo finished loading. Jake took a deep breath. "Fire," he said quietly. The torpedo launched from the Liberty's main tube, moving faster than any conventional weapon. It streaked toward the center of the alien formation like a tiny star. For a moment, nothing happened. The torpedo was so small compared to the huge alien ships that it seemed insignificant. Then it reached the center of their formation and detonated. The explosion was beyond anything Jake had ever seen. Pure energy erupted in a sphere of white light that expanded outward at incredible speed. When the light faded, 23 alien ships had simply vanished. The remaining 20 vessels were badly damaged and spinning out of control. The Liberty had been far enough away to avoid the worst of the explosion, but the ship still shook violently from the shockwave. Lights flickered throughout the bridge, and several control panels sparked. "Damage report," Jake called out when the shaking stopped. Dan checked his instruments. "Minor hull damage, but all major systems are operational." The antimatter torpedo worked perfectly. Dr. Helen smiled with relief. Better than the computer models predicted, actually. The aliens' formation made the explosion more effective. But the battle wasn't over yet. The 20 surviving alien ships were still functional, and they were spreading out to surround the Liberty again. They had learned their lesson about staying in tight formations. "Captain, incoming message from the enemy fleet," Amy reported. "Put it through," Jake said. A different alien face appeared on the screen. This one was younger than Nexval, with fewer scars and a calmer expression. "I am Sub-Commander Kexthar. War Commander Vexval was killed in your weapon's explosion." "I'm sorry for your loss," Jake said, and he meant it. War was terrible, even when it was necessary. "Do not pretend to mourn our dead human," the new alien commander replied. "But I will admit that your species is not as primitive as we believed." Jake nodded. "Are you ready to discuss ending this battle?" The alien was quiet for a moment. "We cannot retreat. Our honor demands that we complete our mission or die trying." "Then you'll die," Jake said sadly. "My ship still has enough weapons to destroy all of you." "Perhaps," the alien replied, "but you will pay a price. Some of our ships will reach you before you can stop them all." Jake knew the alien was right. The Liberty could win, but the ship would take heavy damage and lose many crew members. There had to be a better way. "What if I offered you single combat?" Jake asked suddenly. "Your best ship against mine. Winner takes all." The alien commander's eyes widened with surprise. "Single combat? This is unexpected. Why would you risk your entire ship?" "Because good people are dying on both sides," Jake replied. "And because sometimes the old ways are the best ways." Sub-Commander Kexthar was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded slowly. "I accept your challenge, Captain Morrison. My flagship against your carrier. The surviving ship may leave with honor." "Amy, open a channel to all ships," Jake ordered. "All vessels, stand down and withdraw to safe distance. This is now a single combat engagement." The human and alien fleets pulled back, leaving the Liberty alone in space with one large alien warship. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They had trusted him with their lives, and now he was risking everything on one final battle. "All hands, prepare for single combat," Jake announced. "This is for all the marbles." The alien flagship began, moving toward the Liberty, its weapons charging for the final confrontation. Jake settled into his captain's chair and prepared for the most important fight of his life. The battle was getting more intense by the minute. The alien ships had recovered from their initial surprise and were fighting back hard. Their plasma weapons created bright streaks across space as they tried to hit the fast-moving human fighters. "Captain." Jake Morrison watched the tactical display, seeing both victories and losses. 3 human stealth frigates had been destroyed, and the Liberty had taken several direct hits. But the alien fleet was suffering much worse damage. "Captain, enemy. Ship approaching from the port side," Lisa Martinez called out. "It's one of their heavy cruisers." Jake looked at the main screen and saw a large alien vessel moving toward the Liberty. Its hull was covered in weapon ports, and energy was building up in its main guns. "Return fire," Jake ordered. "All port batteries target that cruiser." The Liberty's weapons fired in perfect coordination. Railgun projectiles and missile salvos struck the alien ship from multiple directions. The cruiser's shields flared bright blue as they tried to absorb the impact, but human weapons were designed to punch through energy barriers. The alien ship's shields failed, and the railgun rounds hit its hull directly. Explosions erupted along. The vessel sighed, and it began to drift away from the battle. Badly damaged Chief Engineer Dan Phillips looked up from his station, sweat on his forehead. "Captain, I'm pushing the reactors to 110% capacity. The aliens can't match our power output." Jake nodded. Human ships were built to run hot and fast, while alien vessels seemed designed for steady, long-term operation. It was like comparing a race car to a luxury sedan. Dr. Helen Parker was busy studying the enemy ships with her sensors. "Captain, I'm finding weaknesses in their ship designs. The aliens seem to care about how their ships look as much as how they fight." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "Their hulls have these beautiful curved sections that are actually structural weak points," Helen explained. "They made their ships pretty, but they made them vulnerable too." Jake smiled. "Send that data to all our ships. Tell them where to." Amy Brooks worked quickly at her communication station, transmitting the targeting information to every human vessel in the battle. Within minutes, human weapons began focusing on the weak points in alien ship designs. The results were immediate and devastating. Alien ships that had been taking multiple hits suddenly began breaking apart after just 1 or 2 well-placed shots. The beautiful curves that made their vessels look elegant became the very things that destroyed them. "Liberty Control, this is Mining Platform 7, came a voice over the communication system. "We've taken out 4 enemy ships with our main gun. These aliens really don't know how to build proper armor." Jake had to admire human engineering. The mining platforms had been disguised to look like simple ore processors, but they were actually mobile weapons platforms with railguns powerful enough to destroy capital ships. The aliens had completely ignored them until it was too late. Major Ryan Cole's voice came through the fighter communication channel. "All fighters, switch to pattern Delta. Use the new targeting data." The human fighter squadrons changed their attack pattern, focusing on the weak points Dr. Helen had discovered. Alien ships that had seemed nearly indestructible began falling. Apart under focused fighter attacks, Lieutenant Katie Walsh reported in with excitement in her voice. "The aliens are having trouble tracking us when we attack their blind spots. Their sensors can't see through their own ship designs." Jake realized that the aliens had made a critical error. They had built their ships to look impressive and intimidating, but they had sacrificed practical design for appearance. Human ships looked rough and industrial compared to the elegant alien vessels, but they were built to fight and survive. The Liberty shook as another alien plasma beam hit its hull. Don Phillips checked his damage reports. "Forward armor is holding, but we've lost 2 weapon turrets on Deck 7. Reroute power from non-essential systems," Jake ordered. "Keep the guns firing." The Liberty's remaining weapons continued to pour fire into the alien fleet. The Supercarrier's main railguns could punch through almost any armor, and its missile systems launched smart weapons that could think for themselves once they were fired. Doctor Helen made another discovery. "Captain, the alien ships are all controlled from their bridge sections." If we can hit the command areas, the whole ship becomes helpless, like cutting off the head of a snake, Jake said. Good work, Doctor. The new targeting information went out to all human ships, and the battle began to turn even more in humanity's favor. Alien vessels that lost their command centers became floating targets for human weapons. Commander Thexfall appeared on the main screen again. His face showed panic now instead of anger. This is impossible. Human technology is supposed to be inferior. Different doesn't mean inferior, Jake replied. You assumed we were primitive because our ships don't look like yours. You never considered that we might be better. Better? The alien commander snarled. Your ships are ugly metal boxes. Our ships are tools, Jake said. We build them to work, not to impress people. Every part serves a purpose. Every design choice makes them stronger or faster or deadlier. Jake gestured toward the tactical display, showing the battle. Your ships are beautiful, but beauty doesn't stop railgun. Rounds. Your formations are perfect, but perfection makes you predictable. Your tactics are elegant, but elegance is useless when your enemy refuses to follow the rules. The alien fleet was now down to less than half its original size. Human ships continued to attack from all directions, using tactics the aliens couldn't predict or counter. The beautiful, organized Zephyrian formation had become a scattered mess of damaged ships. Captain, enemy vessels are trying to retreat, Lisa reported. Several ships are pulling back toward the edge of the system. Jake considered letting them go, but he knew this battle would be reported to the alien empire. If some ships escaped, they would tell their leaders that humans could be defeated with the right tactics. That would make the next battle even harder. Don't let them escape, Jake ordered. All ships pursue and destroy any enemy vessels attempting to flee. The human fighters were fastest, catching up to the retreating alien ships quickly. As stealth frigates used their speed to get ahead of the aliens and cut off their escape routes. Even the mining platforms joined the chase, their powerful engines pushing them faster than anyone expected. But Jake knew the battle wasn't over. Yet, the remaining alien ships were gathering together for one final attack. They had learned from their mistakes and were adapting their tactics. Captain, the enemy is massing for a direct assault on our position, Lisa warned. They're going to try to ram us. Jake looked at the tactical display and saw that Lisa was right. The surviving alien ships were forming up for a desperate attack directly at the Liberty. They had given up on elegant tactics and were going for brute force. All fighters return to defend the ship, Jake ordered. All hidden platforms converge on our position. The final phase of the battle was about to begin, and Jake knew it would test everything his ship and crew could do. The alien ships moved closer to the Liberty, their weapons glowing brighter with each passing second. War Commander Thexfall appeared on the main screen again, his sharp teeth showing in what looked like a smile. Last chance, human captain, the alien said. Surrender now, or watch your crew die. Jake Morrison looked at his officers. Amy Brooks was ready at her station, her fingers hovering over the communication controls. Lisa Martinez had already locked the ship's weapons onto multiple alien targets. Everyone was waiting for his order. I told you before, Jake said to the alien commander. The Liberty doesn't surrender. Thexfall made an angry sound. Then die with honor, if your primitive species understands such a concept. The communication ended. Jake stood up from his captain's chair and walked to the center of the bridge. He looked out at the alien fleet surrounding his ship. To anyone watching, it looked like the Liberty was trapped with no way to escape. But Jake knew something the aliens didn't. The Liberty had not come to this star system alone. All stations condition red, Jake announced. Commander Martinez, are you ready? Lisa looked up from her tactical station, her dark eyes focused and determined. All weapon systems are online, Captain. We have target locks on 47 enemy ships. Good, Jake said. He turned to Amy. Open a channel to all hidden units. Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. Channel open, sir. Jake picked up his communication device. All ghost units. This is Liberty Actual. The fish are in the net. I repeat, the fish are in the net. Execute Operation Mousetrap on my mark. He put down the communication device and walked back to his chair. The alien ships were now in perfect attack formation, surrounding the Liberty. From every direction. They thought they had the human ship trapped. Mark, Jake said quietly. Suddenly, the space around the Zephyrian fleet exploded with light and fire. Ships appeared from behind asteroids where they had been hiding. What this? Aliens had thought were simple mining platforms, revealed themselves to be weapons platforms with huge railguns. Stealth frigates became visible as their hiding systems shut off. The aliens had walked straight into a trap. Commander Lisa Martinez smiled as she watched her tactical display. All hidden units are engaging the enemy, Captain. They're completely surrounded. The Liberty itself began to change. Hidden panels opened along its hull, revealing rows of weapon ports that had been concealed. The ship that had looked like a helpless target transformed into a floating fortress covered in guns. Launch all fighters, Jake ordered. The Liberty's flight decks opened, and fighter ships poured out like angry bees from a hive. Major Ryan Cole led the first squadron, his fighter moving fast and smooth through space. Lieutenant Katie Walsh flew beside him, her ship's weapons already charging. Liberty Control, this is Eagle 1. Ryan's voice came through the communication system. All fighters are away and engaging the enemy. The battle began in earnest. Human ships attacked from every direction while the alien fleet tried to understand what was happening. Their perfect formation began to break apart as ships tried to turn and fight enemies that were behind them, beside them, and above them. Jake watched the battle unfold on his tactical display. The hidden human ships were smaller than the alien vessels, but they were faster and smarter. Human captains used hit-and-run tactics, striking hard and then moving away before the aliens could respond. Captain, the enemy is trying to reform their battle line, Lisa reported. They're pulling back to create a defensive circle. Don't let them, Jake replied. He turned to the weapons control station. All guns, open fire. Target the largest. Ships first. The Liberty's main guns fired for the first time. Railgun projectiles moving at incredible speed slammed into alien ships. The projectiles punched through the aliens' energy shields like they were made of paper. Where the beautiful, glowing alien ships had been, now there were explosions and debris. The Zephyrian ships returned fire with their plasma weapons. Bright beams of energy struck the Liberty's hull, but the human ship's armor held. Chief Engineer Dan Phillips worked at his station, keeping the ship's power systems running at maximum capacity. Shields holding at 90%, Dan reported. All power systems are green. Dr. Helen Parker looked up from her science station, excitement in her voice. Captain, I'm scanning the alien weapons. Their plasma beams are very powerful, but they take a long time to recharge. If we time our attacks right, we can hit them while their weapons are cooling down. Jake nodded. Pass that information to all our ships. Coordinate the attacks. Amy worked at her communication station, sending the tactical data to every human vessel in the battle. Within minutes, the human ships began attacking in waves, striking the aliens when their weapons couldn't fire back. The alien fleet was beginning to take serious damage. Several of their largest ships were already destroyed, and many others were badly hurt. But there were still over 100 alien ships left, and they were learning from their mistakes. War Commander Dex Vel appeared on the main screen again. His face showed shock and anger. Impossible. Your ships were hiding. This is treachery. Jake almost laughed. This is tactics, Commander. Something your people don't seem to understand. Our intelligence reports said humans fight in simple formations. The aliens snarled. Your technology is supposed to be primitive. Your intelligence was wrong, Jake replied. We let you think we were simple because it made you careless. Now you're paying the price for underestimating humanity. The alien commander's large black eyes were filled with rage. We still outnumber you 2-1. Our ships are larger and more powerful. Size isn't everything, Jake said. Sometimes it just makes you a bigger target. As if to prove his point, one of the Liberty's hidden weapons platforms fired its main gun. The railgun projectile hit the largest alien ship directly in the center. A massive vessel broke apart in a brilliant explosion that lit up the entire battlefield. The human fighters were having their own success. Major Ryan Cole and his pilots used swarm tactics, attacking in groups and then breaking apart before. The aliens could target them effectively. The alien ships had powerful weapons, but they were designed to fight large targets, not small, fast fighters. Liberty Control, this is Eagle One, Ryan reported. We've taken out 6 enemy ships. Their targeting systems can't keep up with our speed. Lieutenant Katie Walsh's voice joined the communication. The aliens are trying to form defensive pairs, but they're too slow. We can hit them and be gone before they know what happened. Jake felt pride watching his people fight. The aliens had expected an easy victory against primitive humans. Instead, they were getting a lesson in human warfare that they would never forget. But the battle was far from over. The alien fleet still had many ships left, and they were beginning to adapt to human tactics. Jake knew the hardest fighting was still ahead. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, looking out at the stars through the large windows. The supercarrier was huge, almost 2 miles long and half a mile wide. It carried over 5,000 people and 120 fighter ships. Jake had been the captain for 3 years, and he loved his ship more than anything else in the world. The Liberty was flying through space near a star system called Kepler 442. This was the edge of human space, where Earth's colonies ended and unknown alien territory began. Jake's orders were simple: patrol the area and watch for any threats to human worlds. Lieutenant Commander Amy Brooks walked up to Jake. She was the ship's communications officer, a smart woman with short brown hair and green eyes. Captain, we're getting some strange signals from the asteroid field ahead, she said. They don't match anything in our computer files. Jake nodded. Put it on the main screen. The large display showed empty space filled with floating rocks. But as Jake watched, something moved behind the asteroids. Something big, Captain, called Commander Lisa Martinez from her position at the weapons control station. I'm reading multiple contacts. Very large contacts. Lisa was the ship's tactical officer, a tough woman who had served in 3 wars before joining the Liberty's crew. Suddenly, the space around the Liberty filled with alien ships. They appeared from behind asteroids and from the darkness of space itself. Jake counted at least 200 vessels, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built, except for the Liberty itself. The alien ships were strange and beautiful. They had smooth, curved hulls that glowed with blue and purple lights. They moved in perfect formation, like fish swimming together in the ocean. But Jake knew these were warships, not peaceful explorers. Captain, we're being contacted. Amy sighed, her fingers flying over her control panel. The aliens want to talk. Put them through, Jake ordered. He straightened his uniform and prepared to meet humanity's first alien contact. The main screen changed to show an alien face. The creature had gray skin, large black eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It wore what looked like a military uniform covered in strange symbols. "I am War Commander Thexvol of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said in perfect English. "You are in our space, human. Your kind is spread like a disease across 12 star systems that belong to us." Jake kept his voice calm and steady. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Liberty. We come in peace. These star systems have human colonies that have been here for 20 years. The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. 20 years? We have owned this space for 20,000 years. Your colonies are illegal. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are toys." Amy looked at Jake with worry in her eyes. This was not going well. First contact with aliens was supposed to be historic and peaceful. Instead, they were facing what looked like a war fleet. "We can discuss this," Jake said. "There's room in space for both our peoples." "No," Thexvol replied. "There is room only for civilized races. We have watched your colonies. We have seen your crude technology and your simple military tactics. You are children playing with dangerous toys." The alien commander leaned forward on his screen. "I will give you one chance, Captain Morrison. Surrender your ship to us now. Let your crew become our prisoners. This will show other humans that they must leave our space immediately." Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. Behind him, he could hear his crew working at their stations. The Liberty was ready for battle, even if the odds looked impossible. "And if I refuse?" Jake asked. "Then we will destroy your ship and everyone on it. We will broadcast the battle to all human worlds. They will see what happens to those who defy the Zephyrian Empire." Jake looked around his bridge. Amy was ready at her communication station. Lisa had her hands on the weapon controls. "Chief." Engineer Dan Phillips was monitoring the ship's power systems from his station. Dr. Helen Parker, a science officer, was already studying the alien ships with her sensors. All of them were waiting for his decision. 5,000 lives depended on what he said next. But Jake also knew that millions of humans lived in the colonies nearby. If he surrendered, those people would be defenseless against the aliens. "You want my answer?" Jake said to the alien commander. "Here it is. The USS Liberty does not surrender. Not today, not ever." Thexvol's large black eyes grew even bigger. "Then you have chosen death, human. We will enjoy showing the galaxy how weak your species truly is." The communication ended, and the alien ships began moving into attack formation. They spread out in a perfect pattern, surrounding the Liberty from all sides. Energy weapons began, charging on their hulls, creating bright spots of light in the darkness. "All hands, battle stations," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. "This is not a drill. We are about to engage a hostile alien fleet." Alarms began ringing throughout the massive ship. 5,000 crew members ran to their positions. Fighter pilots raced to their ships. Marines grabbed their weapons. Engineers checked the power systems one last time. Amy turned to Jake. "Captain, should I send a message to Earth Command? Let them know what's happening?" Jake shook his head. "Not yet. Let's see what these aliens can do first." He looked out at the enemy fleet surrounding his ship. 200 alien warships against 1 human carrier. The odds were terrible, but Jake had a secret. The Liberty was not just any ship, and this was not just any patrol. He pressed a button on his command chair. "All units, this is Liberty Actual. The trap is ready. Wait for my signal." The alien commander had called humans primitive and simple. He was about to learn why that was a very dangerous mistake to make.